Hi Crafty friend, it's me, Justine. Let's talk about September clubs. Somehow, yes, it is September, and let's just dive right in. So first I want to show you the add-on when you get the caboodle. It's super cute. You can put the little hat on or not, so you could make this perfect for fall or just as a little happy little frog. So pretty cute, very adorable. If you're wondering about like the picture and the sizing of it all, I get these early so I don't get the pretty packaging like you all do, so don't mind that. All right, here's the caboodle. Like I said, let's look at the rest of it. Okay, the Glimmer has to be one of my favorites because of the size of the sentiments. There's a very big, bold thanks. This one is called Friendly Thanks. So there's that big, bold thanks, and then there are 5 different sentiments. So thanks for being a friend. Thanks for having a big heart. All I can say is thanks. Thanks for lending me a hand. Thanks, this card is full of thanks. So 5 different options there, and this one again is called Friendly Thanks. Super cute. Not only do you get that, you will receive the Glimmer foil when you sign up for the Glimmer Club. So this one is rose gold this month, perfect for fall colors, and even perfect for some Christmas colored cards, the non-traditional ones, and also perfect for Valentine's Day. I know it's September, but in the card world, we're always just a little bit ahead for every holiday, literally, but it's always good to have different colors on hand, and the Glimmer Club, you get a Glimmer roll with your subscription. All right, let's move along. Speaking of fun extras that you get with products, you get a whole bag of wax beads when you get the wax seal of the month. So this month it is leaves. I will just hold it very close to the camera so you can see it there. It is so cute, and I'm excited to use some new wax bead colors with this. I think it's going to be so fun. And this packaging, you can mix them all together or you can separate them out. It just depends on your preference. And this is called the Autumn 4 Colors. So it's part of the must-have bead mix sets. There's lots of different mixes you can do. And when you buy one of these, you get 1, 2, 3, 4 different colors to play with. So I think that it's really fun when they put the mixes in the clubs because you get lots of choices to play around with. Okay, let's talk about stamping. I know some people are super big in stamping. I'm loving using new paper for Copic coloring. I will link that. I have that linked in the description of this video, but here is the stamp set of the month. I just have a picture of it here so you can see it clearly. And then there's also add-on dies you can put in there, so you can get the stamp and die. And this is called Autumn Wishes. So it's a very beautiful fall corner set. It looks like there's some mushroom, a little pumpkin moment, and then a cute acorn, and then some fun sentiments. So that is really fun to have on hand. Speaking of fun, embossing folders. This is the regular one of the month. It's called Autumn Chevron. Very cute. And then Pumpkin Patch. I cannot wait to use this one, especially with the there's paper from Spellbinders. Let me quick grab the name of it. Persimmon. And that paper I think would look super cute with the pumpkins. So this one's called Pumpkin Patch and Autumn Chevron. Very, very fun. Okay, speaking of fun, everything's fun. I love, love, love fall. It has to be my favorite season. So when I saw this whole collection, I just got super excited, and I love that everything coordinates. So colorful pumpkins. Look at this stencil. This is what it will make. This is a little bit bigger than the stencil, but again, I just printed it from my computer. It's adorable. You can change the colors to be anything you want, and it is a really fun full background. I could see this with one of the Glimmer sentiments or one of the stamps. Pop a frog on there. It would be so fun and cute. So there you have it. Points for counting how many times I say fun and cute in this video. Moving along. Spooky time. This one, I'm going to get real close. You can see the example there. This is the small die of the month. You can see it makes a scarecrow. You can choose to do a happy face or a scary face. So there's a happy face of a person, or you can do a little Jack Pumpkin. Sorry, I just got distracted. I looked up and my neighbor's cat is like staring at me. Hello, cat. Anyway, the pumpkin head is kind of fun as well, but this is called Autumn Scarecrow. So there are some fun little things you can add to your scarecrow, like pumpkins, bats, leaves, flowers. I think that would be a sunflower, a crow, a hat, a witch's hat. You could do a witch on there. So, you know, there's lots of options for that. Speaking of dies, the large die is so up my alley. Let me tell you, it's a barn. I used 2 magnets for it. Here is an up-close look at what it will make. You can see the farm barn with the road and the valley. I think that is so cool. If farms aren't your thing, I think that this is worth it just to get the whole sky and the fence and the road. You don't have to put a barn on there if you don't want to, but you can change out the color of the tree and make a spring one, a summer one, and you can change out these flowers because we know that there is a ton of flowers out there. And if sunflowers aren't your thing, you can switch that out. So this is a really good deal. By the way, when you subscribe to the large die, it's $27.50, I believe, per month. But if you wait and get it after and not subscribe, it's $40, which is crazy. So I always tell people, get it when it's on club if you like it, because you're going to save yourself some do-re-mi. All right. Okay, let's talk about stitching. This one is super cute. Here's the example. It is a sunflower and it is big, big, big. It looks like it will fill an A2 sized card panel. I haven't had a chance to work with it quite yet, but I will show you some examples later in this video. I just like to do this little preview before I start digging into everything, but it's called the Stitched Sunflower. It also comes with 3 sentiments that say thanks so much, or in my case, so much thanks. So either way, that will work, and you can get some fun textures with the center there. And I am excited to stitch with this one. I think it'll be really neat and perfect for fall. Last but not least, the BetterPress, which is one of my favorite items in every single club, but it is called Windy Fall Leaves. So you can see there is a registration template for this one. Hooray! So you can get the leaves in the perfect placement, or you can go rogue and do your own thing and put the leaves wherever you want. And then there are 3 different sentiments. There's thankful for you, sending autumn wishes. My favorite color is autumn. And then there is a die to cut out those sentiments if you want to go ahead and pop that up onto your card base or add it to something else. So you could have a BetterPress sentiment on an embossing folder with a wax seal. Like I said, this club this month, everything coordinates. And that is my favorite kind of club, because I feel like it is so worth every single penny that you spend on it, because you can stretch your items and have them mix and match, just like a wardrobe, you know? All right, well, enough to chat about what's in the club. It's been 8 minutes now, so let's dive into making some cards. Go ahead and let me know right away here in the comments what has jumped out to you right away and what it has been the most exciting of all of the clubs here. I think my favorite has to be the Glimmer, because I feel like I will be pulling for this over and over and over again. As a teacher, I need thank you cards all the time because people are extremely generous to me. So I think this one has to be my favorite, with a second place tie of the large die and the cute frog, because that is just, I mean, come on. He's so cute. I love it. Anyway, let's go. I'm so happy that you're here with me today. I'm going to start off with the Stencil Club, which is really cool. It has some gourds and pumpkins, and I went out of my comfort zone with the color scheme on this one, and it ends up being kind of pastelish. So I'm going to start with some distress oxides. I have scattered straw, evergreen bough, carved pumpkins, saltwater taffy, and faded jeans. And the stencils have these little notches in the corners, so I just have to line it up, and it will line up perfectly every time. Or With this one, it really doesn't have to be perfect because the pieces aren't touching each other, so as best as I could. The stamp wheel, or at least this grippy mat that's on the stamp wheel from Altenew, really has made me fall in love with stenciling over the last few months here. So in my mind, it is a must-have for doing stencil work, and I pull it out all the time, and you can see how discolored mine is around the area where my card base is, because I have used it a lot, especially with darkening edges. I'll show you that with the small die of the month card that I'm going to be showing in just a couple minutes, but I really do like adding ink to edges and kind of distressing things, so it's definitely a must-have for me, and it's another item that lives very closely to my work surface and area because I'm pulling for it quite often. These little tops of the gourds really pull everything together, and I ended up making 2 more versions of this stencil, so I'll show those at the end, but this is a really cool fall themed stencil. Alright, let's talk lunar paste. I'm going to first go in with this lunar paste. This is going to go on my 3D embossed paper, and I used the color Persimmon for the paper, and then I took my Copic marker and colored the tops of the pumpkins, and this yellow or this gold color is going to go on the sunflowers, but it really doesn't show up at the end. What really steals the show here is this orange color called Guppy, and I'm going to smear that with my finger dauber all over these pumpkins, and I am amazed at the shine and just the glimmer and gilded look that this gives. I really love lunar paste, and this card definitely was a hit thanks to the lunar paste. And then I'm going to add this Thanks, which is a sentiment from the Glimmer. I added little rhinestones, and look at the shine. Oh, it is so gorgeous. I have to make a couple of those for sure. Moving on to the BetterPress, I just love this club item because I love fall, and these leaves could be so cool if you use the registration template like I have right there. I secured it to my BetterPress with a little bit of tape, and this gives me the option to use the pre-made layout, which is so easy peasy. You can do this very quickly and kind of batch out a whole bunch of cards. But the leaves, you could not use the registration template and make your own design, which is so fun, and I am going to do that in this video as well. I'm also going to show you some, I think I have 2 cards, maybe 1, where I glimmered these beautiful leaves. So I think I have 2 of them, yeah. And I'm just kind of went crazy with these clubs because I love fall, and here in Minnesota where I am, we end up seeing gorgeous colors. If you are ever interested in taking a trip, I would highly recommend going to Minnesota. There's specific websites that have like where are the best times for the leaves, and every year is different for timing on that. So I would definitely recommend a trip to Minnesota and check out the leaves. It is gorgeous. So enough with travel advice from me, but basically I really enjoy fall, and with these cards I'm going to make 3 of them here that are BetterPress-ish, and then I'm going to go to my stash, and I have some nesting dies that I kind of have been just using all the time, and I am also going to look through my stash from last year and see what I have that I can add to this new item, because anytime I bring in new stuff, I always want to think about what do I already have in my collection, and sometimes you can shop your stash, save a little dough, if you know what I mean. But I love shopping my stash. I'm going to pull out a fall die set that is going to go so nicely with these BetterPress plates, so stay tuned. I always have to do the little feel check. Do you do that when you BetterPress? Do you feel the impression? I just love that. I don't know. It's probably a texture thing. I think that using the BetterPress paper with the plates gives such a good impression. So I always have to do the field test. And the ink dries so fast anyway, so you might as well. So I was feeling like a lazy-paisy crafter, and I did not really wash my plates in between here, and I thought, well, that's fine because it will give a little ombre look. Look at those leaves. They're green, they're yellow, and that is actually how leaves look when they are changing color and they're falling all over, blowing, etc. And that's the look. So I just am gonna give myself permission to go with that. And now I should know the difference between some of these leaves, like the technical colors and such, what oak and maple, etc. I do know some of those facts because I in fact teach those things. But when you're crafting, you have artistic creativity. I'm just going to tell you have it because I have it. You have artistic vision where you can make a leaf any color you want. If you want a blue leaf, you go ahead. If you want a hot pink leaf, you go ahead. If you want to make them accurate to what nature has in store for us, you also can go right ahead. But, you know, sometimes that's not the dream. So I just am going to use a whole bunch of different inks here and just kind of do my own thing. Now you don't have to just use BetterPress inks when you are pressing. I've heard excellent things about using distress oxides on there, using the, what are those called? Let me look that up real quick. My apologies, the interface inks. So there's all sorts of options. The Gina K inks I've also heard work well. So just, I don't know, just get creative. Look what you got in your stash. Just try it out. If it turns out, great. If not, oh well. And guess what? There are more inks coming to Spellbinders. I saw that on their coming soon section of their website about 2 weeks ago, I think. So you know what that means? I'm gonna need a new tray, a new storage box, because these two are full. Oh, bummer. We need more ink. I'm so disappointed. Can you tell? The new colors are so cool. They are literally cool tones. So if you haven't checked those out, I will tell you about them right now as I keep better pressing. By the way, did you see that new plate that is the birch with the deer? I did show that card. I made a card with that on my channel with the cardinals, but that birch background I think is just such a win. It is so cool. Okay, so the new colors, they are called the Woodlands pack, and there are 4 different colors. There is Laurel, which I would call a very true light green. It is darker and more of a green than the Perdot, but it is not as vibrant and like punchy as the leaf green. So there's those 2, and then, oh, that's the first one, and the second one is called Pine. So it is a gorgeous pine green, very pretty, and perfect for some of the Christmassy plates that I have in my stash. So I'm excited to use pine and make some Christmassy things. By the way, I'm so sorry for my reflection being in like every shot here. So you're seeing the crafter Justine. I usually am in my pajamas, so bonus points if that shows. Anyway, the third color is called Rustic, which is a very reddy orangey brown. So a rustic, so it's kind of rusty, but it is a beautiful brown. And then the last color is called Spruce, which, if you know, spruce is kind of a blue-green. So very pretty as well, I would say. I think my favorite color of the 4 that I am seeing, I don't have them yet, I will soon. But I think my favorite will have to be that spruce color. That blue-green just is right up my alley. So let's just be pumped, and I'm going to have to get another box. Anyway, here are all 3 of the panels that I made with the set. Let's make some sentiments for my cards. So what I'm going to do here is use a scrap of paper that I have that is the BetterPress paper. and it's too precious to waste, as you know. So I'm just going to line these up and make sure that they are spread out enough. So that's why I put my die kind of over them. That was a trick that I learned from Melanie. And I'm going to ink up each one with different colors. I'm going to start with this first card. It's going to be the bark, and then mulberry for the middle one, and then clay for the one on the left. So I'm going to ink these all up quickly, I might add, and then press them all together. I could do them individually, but I was feeling a little bit risky, a little bit crazy, and I thought, why not just show you on camera what I would do if I was doing this not on camera, and this is what I would do. So I'm giving it to you real, and if it turns out poorly, whatever, I'll grab another scrap. But guess what? It doesn't. It turns out just so well. So now I could take my little guillotine trimmer and just chop them up, or I can use the die that came in the set, which is what I'm doing. And I kept my inks on top of my cards so I remembered what sentiment with what card, but this is a little job for my scout, so I'm just going to run this one through. It is a breeze, as usual, just a couple cranks, and ta-da, my sentiment is cut out. And it works so well for the one that fits perfectly, and for the one that is just a hair short. I'll show you what I do. I take the die and I put it justified to one side, so here I will justify it to the left first, and so it's going to cut right before the S in sending, and I'll just use a little bit of craft tape, stick it on, and run it through my scout for the first time, like so. And you might be thinking, what in the world? What about the area by the wishes? It's a big gap. Don't worry. You can either take your scissors and chop it off, like so, or you can take your die and line it up carefully. Now justify it to the right after the S, taper down, and run it through again. And it will cut it off perfectly. And that makes the edge match the other side, and it just looks very finished and polished, and it looks like this die was made exactly for the size of your sentiment. So I highly recommend doing that. It is easy. It takes maybe 2 seconds. Okay, now I said before that I shopped my stash, and this is the die set I was talking about before. So this has a whole bunch of different leaves and different I guess sprigs is what I would call it. And this is perfect for kind of a nod to my background of what I already have here. Now these are from the die set called Autumn Sealed Sprigs. Autumn Sealed Sprigs, there we go. And again, this was from last year. It also comes with a little sunflower, and it has this little like seed pouch is to call them. It's certainly not what it's supposed to be named. But then I love taking the die that is called Sealed Twine. It's not actually twine, but it looks like twine. And that kind of creates a faux seal look. And that is what I die cut out with gold mirror cardstock. I'll just flip over my card up front, and then I just tape down at the edges, and then, oops, I got a little glue on there, and then I will simply adhere that onto my card base. It will end up looking like I took twine and wrapped it around my card panel, but it is simply paper. So it's a really nice way to make kind of a three-dimensional look, but it is still a 3D look. I don't know, it's flatter than twine, we'll just say it that way. If you do not like this look, do not worry, because I have another way of adding some kind of a twine situation to cards on my next one here. So just stick with me. I'm going to be sticking on this card front to the card. I know this video is getting to be kind of a lot, but I do receive all 10 clubs, so I figured I would put them all in one club video and see how it goes. So if you like the style, hit the like button so I know, or let me know in the comments. I will gladly take constructive criticism anytime. Okay, I will add a very close-up look to the wax seal here. Since I wax sealed a lot on last month's club video, I did not add any of that here today, but just look how cool the wax seal turns out. I used all of the colors from the bead pack that is from this club for this month, and it just looks so marbly and really interesting. So to get that look, I basically put all of the colors into my wax spoon. I used all 4, and then I actually added an extra one of the blue or the smoky blue and an extra one of the gold. So I ended up with 6 beads total. I like to use 6 beads when it's an oval shaped wax seal. That's just kind of my personal preference. You do you, girl or guy, whatever you want to do with your wax seal, you do it. But I'm just saying that's what I do. Now, people get a little touchy with the wax seal stuff, so we'll just leave it there. But then I added my Deco Color paint pen and added gorgeous gold to the leaves, so it ended up being a really gorgeous look. Second card here that I'm working on, I had that pumpkin embossing folder background. Again, I used Lunar paste. This time I used Bee Sting over that paper. I just love the look of the Lunar paste with the 3D embossing folders. It literally doesn't matter what color or what folder, it's going to be a gorgeous look every time. All right, with my 3 cards here, I'm going to finish them off with some embellishments. I have Pink and Mane on my first one. I have some older embellishments here that I've been hoarding in my craft room from Spellbinders. I'm going to use them today. And then I had some LDRS ones for my last card. So hopefully you like those 3. Now this card we're going to call Layer, 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 because I have 5 layers of card stock underneath my stamped image, and this was the stamp from the Stamp and Die. And then I have the sentiment, Happy Thanksgiving. I love the sentiment, Happy Thanksgiving, and also You're Such a Blessing. I think that was the other one. I used that in a whole bunch of cards here coming up, so be on the lookout for those. Another gorgeous wax seal on that one, if I do say so myself. More Lunar paste with the 3D embossing folder on this card, and made that for a nice little landing spot for my gorgeous stamped image that made it effortless to stamp and color. Look how pretty that is. Anyway, and then I'm going to take some clear embossing ink and some white powder and make a couple sentiments for these 2 cards. We're back with the stencil from the first chunk of the video there, and then I'm going to make a sentiment for this gorgeous little pumpkin fall spray. So I'm starting with Happy Thanksgiving, and then I added the sentiment, something like You're Such a Blessing, I think. Just give it a little bit. Oh, Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. We could just give it a little bit of embossing powder, and with my heat gun, I'll just emboss that up. Little tip for the embossing, heat embossing, anytime you do that, you want to heat emboss it until it is shiny. Once it's shiny, you stop. If it goes dull, you've gone too far and you might have burned something, so FYI. We'll add this gorgeous ribbon. Now this is some cheapo ribbon. It's not fancy Vivant ribbon. I have some in my stash, but this ended up being some stuff that is just kind of cheap. So I didn't want it to fray or run, so I did end up burning the edges carefully in a ventilated area. So I will recommend you do that as well, carefully with an open flame in a ventilated area. And I will just add a little bit of a scrap of lace to this area and then pop the bow on top. So it just kind of looks like it's on as a tag. And I did use Spellbinders, the tag die for that. There's so many products and everything that I've used in this video, so I have everything linked in the description under like one of the first links. So if you're interested in checking out those, just check the link. It's going to have everything there in a gorgeous picture kind of layout. Sorry if you just heard my chair squeak, but that's life. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Oh, that is just really cute, by the way. I think fall pastels needs to be a thing. I'll pop up my second sentiment. This was just simple, happy Thanksgiving. And I'm going to go in with some LDRS creative embellishments on that one as well. Oh, those 4 are just so cute. I have really, really enjoyed this month's clubs, if you can't tell already. Now let's get into a stitching tutorial. Surprise! Here we are. If you have not watched any of my stitching tutorials before, check out my playlist. But this sunflower basically is going in the center hole and up the outsides all around the flower. Now, when you switch petals, there's a little trick here. Are you ready? That petal is done. You're going to flip your flower over and just angle the thread so it goes into a hole where it doesn't show on the sides. So I'm basically going to make my way all the way around this flower using that method. Just making sure that everything is not visible when I transfer between the petals. So if you have questions about stitching, let me know in the comments. I have, I think, almost 80 videos on my channel about stitching. So I hope that I can answer your questions. I feel like I'm kind of an expert at this point. I do have 2 videos on my channel that are stitching 101s. So if you are brand new to stitching, that is exactly where I will send you. It talks to you about what products you actually need to use and what ones you don't need to waste your money on, and the styles and techniques that I know and like. All right, let's stitch up the leaf. We're going to go ahead down and basically follow the lines that are on the die. So when I die cut this out, it actually leaves a little bit of etched die lines in there. And I'm just going to do a back stitch all the way across the leaf and just make little lines as I go. And then at the last minute, as I was stitching this leaf, I decided to go all the way around the edge just to give it a more beefy look, because I am just using 1 leaf on my sunflower. The die comes with 2, but I wanted to make sure that I left room for my sentiment. I have been card making for a while now, and sometimes I get so excited with the stamps or the dies or the BetterPress, and I just leave no room for the sentiment, which is fine, but sometimes I need to remember you gotta leave room for a sentiment. So my biggest tip for that is just to either stamp or whatever your sentiment out, and then just set it on your card. Even if you don't glue it on right away, just set it there so you have it to keep in mind. All right, let's do the center of the sunflower, which I chose kind of a mauve-y green for, because in the center of sunflowers they're actually green. Now I use glitter paper, which I love, but it kind of got rid of the stitching guidelines that the die was supposed to put on there, but the glitter kind of took over. So I just kind of looked at the actual die itself and tried to imagine the lines. It's basically just going across the center one way and across the center the other way. So it just makes a cross-hatch design, which is pretty similar to a real sunflower. So I was pretty happy with the overall style and design of this. I almost did not have enough thread, but in fact I did. So after I finished stitching the center, I went ahead off camera and stitched up the rest of the flower. It is so gorgeous. I went ahead and die cut out, just with the edge die, another set of flowers. So it has kind of a shadow for the flower petals, which you could do a double panel of flowers. You can have 2 sets of stitching, so that's an option as well. I think it would be really cool to do a 5x7 card, maybe with 2.5 sunflowers, maybe chop one in half. I don't know, I have ideas, but do I have time to do all the ideas? Not really. So my tip for getting the sunflower to look perfect with the 2 panels is to flip the top panel 180 degrees. So if you need to go back and see me flip it like that, just line it up at the top and put the top to the bottom. To me, that is so gorgeous, but we're gonna make it even more gorgeous with some embellishments. And I'm gonna use up these really cute little gems that I got from the Christmas card kit. Now, my inspiration for the color palette for this was number 403 from the Color Cube. And are they spot on for this? No, but I'm trying. This is the first card I ever used at the Color Cube. I am not an expert of how to use that yet. I want to play with it and just kind of get familiar with things before I give you advice, but I just wanted to mention I have Color Cube 1 and 2 now, so I will hopefully be learning how to use it and share with that on my channel soon. Okay, this add-on of this frog is so adorable. You can put a little hat on and make it kind of a Halloween style, or you can just make a frog and you could do like a spring or, oh hello airplane, a spring or a summer frog. It's just up to you. But this frog is just, I mean, he's adorable. Don't you just want to pick him up in your little hand? I made a fun Halloween background for my frog here with BetterPress and with a nesting die of a tag with some lace for a bow, and then I popped another one of the fall wax seals from this month. I also glimmered the spiderweb background plate. I used some Vivant little ribbon that is gold there and topped it all off with a Sentiment Sending Spooky Hugs, which is from the Halloween Icons set from last year, and that is a press once cut once, so I am all about that plate. And I also used the new orange color for the wax seals, so all around quite fun. Alright, here we are darkening up some edges. Speaking of that spiderweb background plate, I have that glimmered in black glimmer on white Glimmer specialty cardstock. I'm going to just darken up the edges with some Memento black ink. And every time I see Memento, I want to say mimosa, like Parks and Recreation. So mimosa, Memento ink. And I have that background all for my spooky Halloween pumpkin head. And look at all these scraps that I chopped up. Oh, I love using all my scraps. So I'm going to give you the satisfaction of looking at all my scraps as well, because I love using up my scraps. It's the best part about die cutting. Well, that and your finished project, of course. So here is my little pumpkin head, and I had to go spooky with this set because looking at this die set before I was making it, I remember a core memory of my childhood. Now, it is a little spooky, so if spooky things don't float your boat, you can skip ahead maybe like a minute. It won't be that long. Long story short, little Justine was at a fire pit? I don't know. We were at a bonfire. There we go. That sounds much better. We were at a bonfire, and I was maybe 9 years old, and it was at my friend's house, and her whole extended family was there. It was super fun with my little gal pals. It was just a blast. We bobbed for apples. We did all the fun fall things. And yes, she lived on a farm. We played with the goats. We played with horses, etc. It was a fun day. We were tired, but her uncle was telling us a spooky story, as you do at campfires, and it was about the headless pumpkin man. And of course, her other uncle put a pumpkin on his head and rode across the field on a horse with a pumpkin on his head, and it scared me so bad, I can't even tell you. But yeah, that's what this whole card reminds me of, so there you have it. Anyway, I love all of the extra little bits and pieces that this die set offers with the pumpkins, but you can make a cutesy one with a scarecrow, just switching out the pumpkin head for the cute head. So there you have it, my take on the small die of the month for September 2024. Spooky but cute. Oh, the large die. Now, at the beginning of the video, when I talked about how the large die was a steal of a deal for $27.50. It is a steal of a deal. I'm making 2 separate A2 sized cards here that look nothing alike, that are so gorgeous, and I love this die. I think it's a win, especially for scene building. So on the example, you can kind of see it at the top there, but they have a barn and then they have a blue chunk, and that's kind of like the water. I chose to make hills behind mine, and I used basically the hill die that is second on the right there, just to make some hills here. And I used the same die to make these 2 darker green pieces. And they're gonna go right over top, like so. And I will be chopping my edge so everything lines up perfectly. Then with the light green, I used the one that was really to the right, that is right by the clouds and the sun right there. And that just gave a very light wave to the hill. And for this, I'm just gonna chop everything up. Just give it a little chop before I get too many layers. I find that if I have like 4, 5, 6 layers and I'm chopping, it's just too much. So we're gonna chop as we go. And I'll put this down. Now, the large die, the example anyway, is 4 5 by 7. So if larger cards and everything kind of floats your boat, I would recommend going 5 by 7 with this one instead of going A2. But I'm kind of an A2 person. I love a 5 by 7, so I don't even want to say that, but you have options is my point here. And this road you can follow on the sheet that you get when you get your large die. If you want this one, it shows you how to die cut everything and what line pieces to use to make the road and such. So follow the directions and you'll get a great result. This little road here I have centered because, again, 5 by 7, but we're breaking the rules and going A2. I'll just chop them off. I'll put the sun right on the left, even though I kind of want it on the right, but whatever. Next card, I'll maybe do that. And I'll pop my cards, or my clouds on. This is 1 cloud die, so I did flip one upside down and one the other way, just to kind of have it look a little different from each other. And again, we're chopping off the edges because if you use the whole card, it definitely has kind of more of a finished look. At least I think so. The barn assembly is easy as can be. We have the big red barn at the roof, and then this piece kind of creates the lines. And then we're going to glue on some barn door here, and a barn window at the top, and that accesses the hay. If you're ever wondering why is there a window or a door up there, it's for the hay. Animal food storage, we'll just say. So I'm such a barn expert, aren't I? Anyway, glue it on. By the way, I'm using all the Barely Art liquid glue for all of my gluing needs. It's fabulous. I'm not sponsored by them, but you know, hey, I'm not going to say no if they want to. I love their glue. Alright, we'll put on the fence. I am going to just stick the glue toward the little section because I don't need it on the other side. It's going to be chopped off yet again. And I'll glue the fence over here, like so. I had to reposition it. Again, that's another reason why I like using liquid glue. Things can move just for a second after you place it, just in case you make a mistake. Who makes mistakes crafting? Anyway, there's the finished card. Oh, I forgot to talk about the tree. But the tree basically is, you can see it on this one, a whole bunch of like little bush pieces, and then the brown piece goes on top. So, but I'm not going to tell you to do it the other way, and you're wrong, because it would be just fine to do it the other way, to do the wood piece and then the bushes. It's up to you, okay? Alright, we're going to put on the layers for this scene, dark and light green. We'll just pop up the clouds. This time I was feeling like a fancy lady and made a gray cloud because there's a silver lining in us all, is there not? And we'll pop on all 3 of them, and for some reason I decided to use a tiny piece of glue on that one, but a little more and we're all set. Here we go, the tree. Ta-da! a fall tree on this card. And yes, I did just drop it, but it's fine. And then we're going to go ahead and add dark pieces to make the bush. These little sunflowers come together in a snap. I used a dark piece, a light piece for the flower, and then popped them onto a stem. Now I'm going to do that with all 3 of the sunflowers. Again, I'm going to set that sentiment on there to make sure I have room for it. And now I have my stems here. Oops, I glued them on before I put my leaves on. So we're just going to lift them up, pretend like it never happened. Put the leaves down, and then glue the stems back afterwards. Don't worry, that's not the last mistake of the video. I have another one coming up real soon for you with my Wink of Stella. Oh yay, it's done. No, my too much brain is like, yeah, do this. And oh my Wink of Stella just kind of exploded there. This is spread up, so you might not have caught it, but there's glitter everywhere, which is fine, because we just spread it around, spread the glitter as much as I could. And hopefully I kind of saved the card. Oh, so sparkly. All right, here's one last look at all of them. Like I said in the beginning, I hope you kept an eye out for your favorite, and then you can let me know your favorite in the comments. I do have a few here that I did not show on camera yet. I know, like these 2 panels that I stenciled as well. So if you want to know the colors I used for them, just ask me in the comments. I do have those recorded, but not with me as I'm doing this voiceover. But those are super cute. I haven't done anything with them yet, but I will. I made this really fun magnet pop-off card with the add-on. And I also made this really fun Halloween card with the add-on as well. Can you tell I like the frog? I like the frog. He's pretty cute. Anyway, is there a cute count yet? I'd like to say it's about 50. Anyway, here's one more glimmer card. Look at all those glimmers. It looks kind of crazy up front, but there's a lot of glimmer happening there. I will have a close-up picture of that one at the end, but look at these Halloween cards. I used the regular embossing folder and the new Ghost Boo wax seal that just came out last month. So fun. I will do a little video on my channel with some glow-in-the-dark wax seals coming up soon, but that regular embossing folder I felt really paired with this. And of course the sentiments are from the Halloween Icon BetterPress set. And that gorgeous thanks card. We have our little acorns. This pile is really big, looking a little crazy. More gorgeous embossing folder loveliness. Oh, that is all of them. I would like to say that my favorite has to be the large die, I think. These 2 are just kind of my favorite, but I do love the frog, so anything that had the frog on it was a hit as well. But with that, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I really appreciate any comments or shares. If you have a crafty friend, share this video to them, because sharing is caring after all. And you are more than welcome to recreate any of the cards I have here, and I would love to see your crafty creations. So when you get your club items, share them over with me on my groups. I have my social medias linked down below, so you can go ahead and connect with me there, especially over on Instagram. But thank you again so much for watching, crafty friend. Happy crafting, and thank you again for using any link that I have in the description of my video. As always, that does help my crafty journey. We'll see you next time. Bye, crafty friend.